In this episode, we're here in Paisley, Oregon at the Pioneer Saloon and Restaurant, which is celebrating its 140th anniversary, making it, allegedly, the oldest bar in the state of Oregon. The saloon isn't alone in being the oldest of something in and around Paisley. We'll also explore the surrounding area and discover some of the earliest known evidence of human habitation in North America. I'm Keegan Van Hook, and this is Us As We Are. Bye. All right, well, how about you just go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us about where we are right now.
My name is John Steffes. I'm the owner-operator of Pioneer Saloon and Restaurant in Paisley, Oregon, and we are at the 140-year anniversary of the bar, the saloon here.
Now, that makes this the oldest bar in the state of Oregon, I understand?
It does. I think some would say that's debatable. The Rainbow Room in Pendleton also was established in 1883, and both the Rainbow Room and the Pioneer have been ongoing since 1883.
I'm Emmett Williams. I'm a bartender here.
I'm Trina Negus. I'm the front manager.
What's it like working here at the oldest bar in the state of Oregon?
It's a lot of fun. You learn a lot of history about the area through the locals and stuff, so yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I get to work with a lot of my kids, so that's always fun.
And you're mother and son, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
My name is Zachary Funk. We're in Paisley, Oregon, at the Paisley Saloon. Has been here for years, 140, I believe, today. And the history behind this, it's been bought, it's been sold. It's a piece of the town, it's a piece of the county. You can't go wrong with probably one of the better saloons in the entire county.
I'm Brandon. I live in Paisley on the Van Bells Ranch. I ride horses every day.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about the Pioneer Saloon here and it turning 140 years old?
I think it's an achievement, and I think it's a very big tourist attraction.
I'm Pablo Alvarado. I'm from San Diego, California. I've been out here for 2 years and a half now. Originally from Mexico, but I guess we're from Oregon now. Love this country. Wouldn't change it, Atmosphere, people are so friendly and nice to you, It's can't beat the ranching communities.
Yeah, what do you think about this place, this bar, and the fact that it's turning 140 years old?
Shoot, that's 3 times my age. I'm not a local. My brother-in-law lives out here, but every chance we come out here, we make sure we stop by and grab a bite to eat or a drink right now. Like I said, friendly people and makes you always want to come back to a place, and have fun. Good music. Yes, sir.
Tonight we're having an Old West costume contest for kids, and we have Summer Tusk, which is a band out of Lakeview that's played here a bunch of times.
Whoa, well, I'm the type of guy who never settled down. Where pretty girls are when you know that I'm around. Well, I kiss them and I hug them, 'cause to me they're all the same. Well, I hug them and I squeeze them. They don't even know my name. They call me the Wanderer. Yeah, the Wanderer. I go around and around and around.
We're gonna put 3 more guys on my tab.
Okay. I appreciate that, man. What's your name, by the way?
Aaron, double A all the way.
Aaron. I'm Keegan.
Keegan.
This is Lewis. This is Trip.
Trip. Hey.
Nice to meet you.
I'm from Eugene. So my family's been coming to Summer Lake Hot Springs since like the 1920s or 30s. And I'm 47, and I've been coming here since I was a toddler with my grandpa and my dad.
What do you think about it being 140 years of this bar existing here in Paisley?
It's pretty awesome. I know the bar has always been like a big deal. It's a very special bar, and I've tried to buy it once, but...
John beat you to it?
No, but...
You tried to buy it from the previous owner before John bought it.
Yeah.
So you've spent a lot of time here in this bar?
Well, more than I should, probably. I'm a sucker for lemon drops. I know I look like a whiskey and a whiskey sour and that kind of guy, and I do love those, but lemon drops, oh my gosh.
It's been a long time since I've had a lemon drop.
I think I would...
Great job here with the lemon drop.
Trish makes a really good Crater Lake lemon drop.
All right, let's have lemon drops.
Okay, I'm Brenda Morgan.
And I understand that you're an area historian. Can you tell me a bit about what you do?
Well, that's what people call me. I just have a love for history. I'm not so sure that the title is apropos, but no one else is probably that crazy about history as what I am. And I've done a lot of research over the last at least 10 years. I'm writing a book about this area from 1870 to 1940. And I spent about a year and a half going through the courthouse in Lakeview, the circuit court files, and all of the county clerk files, because I'd heard all these stories. So I wanted to find out if they were true or not true. So that's what started my quest.
So what can you tell me about the history of this place? 140 years of the Pioneer Saloon.
Oh, isn't that neat? That long, and it's always been in operation. William Henry Miller, he was better known as W.H. Miller, is the one that started this. He came here like in about 1871. And he traveled over the Oregon Central Military Road to get here. And he homesteaded out north of town. And when he built this, he got investors. They were called stockholders. That's in his probate records. And at least $257 were in stock shares. He died right after he started this. He was killed in a horse wreck down in Humboldt, California.
I'm Marie Lee, and I'm curator of Lake County Museum and Schmeek Memorial Museum in Lakeview, which also belongs to Lake County.
Now, you have some rather rare photographs of the bar here. Can you tell me about each of these photos?
Well, they are unusual, are pictures that I have not really seen in advertisement before. This one is a photo that appears to me to have been taken back in the 1950s, probably, because you can see some edges of cars in their vehicles that look to be about that era, and the signage on it, plus the telephone booths. The tree is now gone. This photo here that we have in our museum file says that it was taken sometime before 1919. We do know, or we think, it's very probable, given all things about history, that the bar was brought around by ship from somewhere on the East Coast, around the Horn in South America, and up into Portland, probably, into the harbor at Portland. Very possibly came down the Columbia River to about the Dalles, and then was freighted onto Paisley.
So all this wood and sort of ornate furniture, wood that you see here, that was all shipped here from the east?
Looking into history and our local history in this part of the country, that every big piece of furniture, such as pianos and bars and dressers, ornate bedroom sets, all of those kind of things were shipped from the East Coast and came up the Pacific Coast sometimes into Sacramento or into San Francisco, and came up the Sacramento River as far as that was navigable to bring things in, and freighted up from the Sacramento area. I think that the story is quite probable.
And there was one big investor by the name of Gib Gaylord. His real name was Gilbert. And he invested a little more money than everybody else. Gib Gaylord worked here for a long, long time. And when he died here, he was sick. Whether it was too much booze or maybe he just didn't feel good. He sought help from our local doctor, and he prescribed some medicine. It was liniment to rub on the outside. Well, he drank it instead, and it said poison on it. And then in 1888, there was a shooting here. A guy by the name of Brown shot and killed the barkeeper, whose last name was Schick. His Thomas Schick. And what happened is Brown and a guy by the name of Fisher, who lived out south of town, they were playing cards here. They had an argument over the game, and so they agreed to let the bartender decide the winner or decision of the game. Well, it ruled in Schick's favor, and that's what incited Brown, who was a sheep herder. He went out, back to camp, got his gun, came back in, and shot him right in the head. Prohibition was on and off at different times, and this was a pool hall during some of that time, and George Cooley owned it at one point, in fact for a long time.
So if you look on the back of this photo, it says that it is the Paisley Saloon in Paisley, and also identifies the men in here, and if I'm looking at it right, this man on the far side here would be George Cooley.
Yeah, who is George Cooley?
I know he worked for the ZX for a while, kind of cowboyed, I think, around. but I think he was more into the bartending business.
140 years. Wow. Happy birthday, man. It's a milestone. 140 years just hanging out here in Paisley. Man.
My wife and I have owned it for almost 8 years now, and I actually met her after I put the offer in on the bar, but I was on a motorcycle trip, and I came through the area and just fell in love with the area, and then I spent a few days here in town and played some poker with some of the locals, and then continued on my motorcycle trip and met the previous owners at the Pioneer Saloon in Susanville. And they mentioned that it was for sale, and I came back about a week later and put an offer in on the bar, and the rest is history.
There's just so much history in this place.
I didn't have any experience managing or owning a restaurant. I'd worked in restaurants for many, many years, so that was a big learning curve at the beginning to learn how to run a restaurant and get it running smoothly. We just kind of put our heads down and worked hard and tried to be good to the people around us, and it's been an interesting experience, a good experience.
How about you just go ahead and introduce yourself and introduce the band?
Well, my name is Travis Riddle, and we come from Lakeview, Oregon. This is Walt Lawton, Steve Anderson, and Mike Borelli over there. And we're here playing in Paisley for the weekend for the 140th anniversary of the Pioneer Saloon.
And tell me about your band a little bit.
Well, we play music. We rock and roll, mainly some country. I was born in Lakeview. Walt was born in Philly. None of these guys were born in Lakeview, but we all live there now.
Nice.
And so we all play together.
So my name is Tylen Babb. I was born and raised here in this town. Graduated all 12 years of school here. My dad is of a family line saddle making company here. My family's been here for roughly about 100 years. They originated in Wyoming and then migrated over here.
So then here, you're the cook here at the saloon?
Yes, I am a cook here.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what's that job like? And especially here because it's the 140th anniversary.
Right, yeah.
What's it like working at a place that's so like deeply historical like this?
Well, I mean, like in any standard commercial kitchen or industrial kitchen, you would find, you got multiple chefs, multiple sous chefs, you got your closers, your busters, things like that. We don't really have that, I have one other cook, she's the head cook and I'm the second head cook because there's no sous chefs here. So on an event like this tonight, we come together, we do what we can, and I mean, like, your ticket rail is full and you're just busting it out as quick as you can, trying to get it out, and I mean, it's hectic, but it's fun when we're all together. And I think that's what separates it from, like, the city. As the city, that's your daily drill, and here it's, like, event specific.
Unfortunately, we do live out in rural America, so prices are high and everything, but still, this place brings people together. The history in the town, my family history here brought me here, the school, everything, and I was gonna go somewhere else, but I can't beat the community. The fact that my kids get one-on-one time in the school is the best part, and it's what really drives to keep me here is the school and the community and the people.
Well, I think the people of Paisley are just special. And they're really caring people, and they might be disagreeing with their neighbors at one time, but if somebody's in need, they usually step in to help.
It's people from all walks of life most of the time. I mean, there's a lot of local cowboys from the ranches around here, and then now that we have the hot springs, all that tourism, you see a lot of different people. It's nice.
I came from California originally, so it's a big difference. I have to get used to it. It's not something you see every day out here.
Yeah.
You have to kind of prepare for the worst, but I mean, it's pretty quiet out here. Nothing really happens.
It's kind of always stays the same. Like, we moved away for, 7-8 years, something like that. Came back and it was like we never left, Same people were here pretty much, and yeah. So it's kind of nice to know all your neighbors and things like that.
Very laid back. Everything's laid back and cool.
Yep, laid back, definitely. I came from the Philadelphia area. Things are definitely at a slower pace, and I love it.
And what's beautiful about Paisley is it sits on the precipice of two climates. You have desert and you have forest. So, and Paisley sits right in the middle. So you can drive 10 minutes that way and be surrounded by sagebrush and sand and rock, go arrowhead hunting and go hiking up in the rock mountains and stuff. And then you can drive 10 minutes that way and be in deep deep forest and mountains. You can go up to the lakes. Like, I enjoy paddleboarding, so I'll go up there. My dad has a canoe, so we'll do stuff like that, you know? And I mean, like, we also forage a lot, especially in the spring, early summertime. Foraging is a huge thing around here, too. So, I mean, like, it's crazy that you have these two walks of totally different climates.
Paisley is sitting out on the edge of the high desert, or on the far northwestern edge of the Great Basin, what is known as the Great Basin. Paisley, as you can see, is still very much like it was many years ago. It's a typical Eastern Oregon cow town. This is a town of cowboys and ranches. Paisley's been able to hold that sort of culture for a lot of years. And it's a very picturesque town. You know, if the Shiwakain River comes down here right through town on the northern side, it goes right up to on the banks of the Shiwakain. If you notice in town, the lawns are green and the orchards and little irrigation ditches off the Shiwakain are just put through lawns, everybody's lawn. It's just a lovely place. I love Paisley.
There is conflicting information about the reason for the name Paisley. One story goes that a Scotsman named Charles Mitchell Innes named the town because it reminded him of the city of Paisley in Scotland. However, it's also claimed in a letter from one E.J. MacDonald, printed in the July 21st, 1927 edition of the Oregonian, that the town was actually named by Samuel G. Steele, also a Scotsman who was the first postmaster of Paisley. Lewis L. MacArthur, compiler of Oregon Geographic Names 6th edition, says the reader may accept either tale.
The original settlers ran sheep, and they were Scottish and Irish, and they ran sheep. It's still a ranching community. There's a big handful of small family ranches that are still running, some of them over 100 years old. And then we have the ZX Ranch, which is a very large ranch. It's owned by Simplot. There used to be a mill running here, so it was loggers and ranchers. That's shut down. We have a Forest Service headquarters here, as well as a hot springs. But mainly just a town of 250 people with just small town life.
Technology is not really like an influential thing, or at least it wasn't for a long period of time growing up, you know? So, I mean, it was like as original as it gets as far as you see in the movies. I mean, you know, like people are outside rounding up cattle and giving them brands and stuff between ranches and whatnot. So, I mean, pretty, like what you see in the movies as far as like Wild West is pretty accurate for how it is around here.
I cowboy. I work for an outfit where we got over 1,000 cows, and I take care of cows, I fence, I irrigate, I do everything, you know, and pretty much everybody out here, all the guys out here, if they're not the owners of the place, you know, and owners still, they're out there working their asses off with us, you know. You find cowboys here for sure. Yeah, can't go wrong if you want to find cowboys in this country.
I know everybody here right now. I can see a face and I know them. Other than the passerbys and the tourists that come through, everybody knows everybody here. Something goes down, the community comes together. We have a member here tonight that recently was diagnosed with breast cancer, and the community came together. We had a dinner for her, a lunch, the bar put up something for her. We raised enough money for her to get her chemo. And so with how old this is and the history, just the history of the actual physical bar itself, where it's came from, says miles about when they built this, what their intentions were. And then you look at the pictures of where Paisley has been, where it's gone through, where it is now. It's grown, it's lost some, but the one thing in life that stays the same is change.
I should say this right now. Zach, he plays harmonica with us. He's a local out here in Paisley, and he pops in once in a while on songs. We call him Huckleberry Hound. So, cheers to Zach.
How does it feel to be here today on the 140th anniversary of this place?
Oh, I wouldn't have missed it. And I love the Pioneer Saloon anyway, because I'm an old cowgirl in my heart. I was born and raised on a ranch just slightly south of here. My family still has that. And I call them cowboy hamburgers because I like to come to the Pioneer Saloon because you can get a real cowboy hamburger.
What is a real cowboy hamburger?
Oh, it's made from scratch. It's thick and it's juicy and it's just right.
Yeah, how does it feel for you to be here on the 140th anniversary? Because this is kind of a historical moment in and of itself, and you're somebody who's so fascinated in history. So how does it feel for you?
Oh, it's fun to be a part of it, and I got to speak with John and share with him all of the documents I had, because, of course, they excited me, but unless you're crazy into history like I am, why, they wouldn't mean a lot to a lot of people. But it's nice to be a part of it.
It's pretty amazing that a place like this could stand for that long and, stay in business just through locals, and now a lot of tourism comes through, so it's really cool and interesting.
It seems like a really long time, like in the West, but I was talking to people from the East Coast and they're like, well, that's like, kind of new, but so for us, it's old here.
If you would have asked me a year ago if I would have been here doing this, I would have been like, no, I mean, that's pretty crazy. And so the fact that I'm here kind of blows my mind, especially with how deep-rooted my family is in this town, too. So what I love about this is we can put something on like this that is historic and has that value to it, and people from all over, not just the townspeople, from people all over the state and then some, come here to celebrate this moment with us. So it's spectacular. I love it.
Oh, I feel good. I've just been a lot of preparation. It's great. We have a good turnout, and happy to celebrate the long history of this building and the bar here in this town.
Anytime you guys head out this way, Paisley, Oregon, there's a bar out here, Pioneer Saloon. It's a nice, friendly place to come out, and for family too. Kids are welcome.
Really good talking to you, Pablo.
Pleasure.
It was a pleasure.
Really good to meet you.
Absolutely.
Emmett, really good to meet you. Good to meet you. And Trina, really good to meet you. Really good to meet you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, great talking to you.
You too.
Brendan, really good talking to you, man. Great to meet you. Marie, really good to meet you. Thanks for talking to me.
Thank you.
Well, Brenda, it was really good to meet you.
The same.
Travis and the band, thank you so much. Really good stuff.
Take care.
Yeah, you
John.
guys are good editors, right?
Oh, I try to be. Yeah, that's my goal. Our visit to Paisley and the Pioneer Saloon was absolutely lovely. But no Eastern Oregon adventure is complete until you've driven deep enough into the bush that public dirt roads are gated with loosely strung barbed wire. So, before we conclude this episode, we want to show you a bonus location we visited a few miles into the desert outside of Paisley, the Paisley Caves. Right behind you, Lewis. I'll go in, but
I'm right behind you.
we should probably go right back out pretty quick.
Does it look wet?
It's a little wet. It's not great to breathe air with guano in it.
Okay.
Here we are.
Oh yeah, you can smell it.
This is one of the Paisley Caves. It might not look like much, but since 2002, a number of excavations here have turned up over 60 human coprolites. That's another word for human solid waste. Radiocarbon dating showed that those coprolites could be as much as 14,300 years old, which would make them the oldest DNA evidence of human habitation in North America. For the second half of the 20th century, an ancient society of humans known as the Clovis culture was thought to represent the earliest human presence in North America, starting about 13,500 years before present day. The Clovis people were named so because of the distinctive Clovis points they left behind as artifacts. These points have been discovered all over North America, but were first found in Clovis, New Mexico in 1929, which is where we get our modern name for this group of humans. However, if the coprolites found in the Paisley Caves are indeed from ancient humans, then it represents a pre-Clovis occupation of North America. This region of southeastern Oregon is a playground for those who study or are fascinated by pre-agricultural humanity. Also near Paisley, west on Oregon Route 31, 6 miles past the nearby settlement of Summer Lake, is Picture Rock, an impressive landmark featuring ancient petroglyphs. The rock is marked on many maps, including Google, but when in the field, it can be hard to locate. From the turnout most travelers inevitably pull over in, the rock is a short walk west up a gentle hill. We were struck by its proximity to the highway, an interesting juxtaposition of prehistoric and modern human activity. There's his head, arms, body, legs. We can tell what some of the carvings represent, but do not know their exact meaning. They may have been used in hunting ceremonies, or were markings for migration routes, or a record of myths. Whatever the case, the petroglyphs of Picture Rock, along with the Paisley Caves, paint a fuzzy image of the unfathomably ancient peoples who first settled these lands and became the ancestors of the Native American cultures we are more familiar with today. These are valuable historical landmarks, and if you choose to visit them for yourself, I encourage you to treat them with the respect and veneration such places deserve. That's it for this episode. Thanks for joining my crew and me on our adventure in Paisley, Oregon. You can find Us As We Are on Southern Oregon PBS at sopbs.org/usasweare, or on YouTube and Instagram. If you'd like to get in contact with me, send me an email, kvhook@sopbs.org. See you soon. I've been Keegan Van Hook, and this is Us As We Are.